Traveling by train through Madrid, Spain, one passenger decided to film the view from their window as the route took them past an old station. Nothing appears unusual at first glance, but as the train moves into a darker stretch of track, the camera picks up something for just a brief moment, something the passenger himself doesn't seem to register.
Fíjate bien, ¿eh? Tú no pareces mirarlo. Vale.
There, inside one of the tunnels, stands a figure dressed in white, with long hair, completely motionless. Look carefully, and you'll notice it seems slightly see-through, as though part of it is merging with the environment around it. And there's one more detail that makes this whole thing even harder to dismiss. The person who uploaded the footage claims this location was Chambéry Station, which shut its doors back in 1966 and sat abandoned for decades before eventually being converted into a museum. Somewhere around 2008, reports started surfacing of alleged apparitions and eerie presences within the station's walls, only adding to its already unsettling reputation as a ghost station. Now, that doesn't automatically make this footage paranormal. The low lighting combined with reflections bouncing off the window glass could easily distort the appearance of a perfectly ordinary person standing nearby. And yet, given everything that's been said about Chambéry over the years, it's difficult to watch this clip without feeling at least a little uneasy. So what's your take? Did this passenger just happen to film someone in an odd light? Or is there actually something to those old stories? On March 8, 2025, a woman by the name of Emma recorded something that shook her to her core. It was late at night. She was home by herself watching television in the living room when she started picking up strange sounds coming from the direction of her front door. What her camera caught is right here. All kinds of unsettling noises can be heard near the front door, including what appears to be her own voice saying, "No, you're in there," right before the door handle starts to rattle. Emma went to check the windows but couldn't spot anyone outside. She figured that was that. But then 6 days later, after dark, it happens all over again.
And this is why I can't call the cops, because when I go to look, there's no one there. I know it's hard to see, but I'm not opening the door. There's like no one out there, and like this is a window. There's no people, but this is a window, and you can't really see out there. It's hard to see. So I don't know what the hell is going on.
This time, the voice turns more aggressive, demanding to be let in. Yet when Emma looks through the window, there's clearly no one standing there. With no idea what she's actually dealing with, she refuses to open the door. Her conclusion? Whatever is out there is mimicking her. And it seems to be coming back every couple of nights, so this story might not be over yet. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you make of this. September 21st, 2018, 5 law enforcement officers enter a locked, vacant home in Frederick, Colorado. The property carries a heavy past. Roughly 5 weeks before this particular evening, a man named Chris Watts murdered every member of his family within those walls. His wife Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant, and they had already chosen a name for their unborn son, Nico. Then there were the 2 daughters, Bella, age 4, and Cece, age 3. Watts transported all of them to the oil field where he was employed and abandoned them there, in a location he was certain no one would ever think to search. The motive came down to an extramarital affair and nothing more than that. He was apprehended within a week and sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms, and the house simply remained there afterwards, sitting empty. Then a month went by and something returned to it. No one has ever determined what. Here's where things begin. The house is locked, unlit, no reason for a single soul to be anywhere near it. And on that very day, police received 2 separate calls to the address. The first time out, officers walk the perimeter and find everything sealed tight, everything except the safety screen on the back door. It wasn't damaged, hadn't been forced. Someone had slid it open carefully, deliberately, the way you'd only do if you were already familiar with that door. The door alone was unsettling enough, but it wasn't the only detail. Around that same time, a text message arrived on Shanann's mother's phone. The number was unknown, one she had never encountered before, and all it said was that the back door of her deceased daughter's house was open. She replied asking who was sending this. No response came. Not that day, not ever. By evening, a second call came in, this time from a neighbor. His home security system had recorded something he couldn't explain. A woman approached the front door in the darkness and went inside. The camera never picked her up again. She didn't come back out, and throughout all of this, a black SUV continued to roll slowly past the house, circling repeatedly, until at some point it simply disappeared into the night. That footage has never been made public. Who the woman was, what she was doing in there, none of it has ever been answered. 11 o'clock at night, the 5 officers finally enter. Something feels off immediately. The garage lights are on, despite the fact that no one with access should have been inside to switch them on. Shanann's father was the last living person to walk out of that house, and he maintains he never touched a light switch or set the alarm on his way out. And honestly, you can see why he wouldn't.
Frederick Police Department, anybody in the house? Frederick Police Department, anybody in the house, make yourself known. Frederick Police Department, anybody in the house?
There was nothing left in there worth protecting, yet the alarm was engaged and the lights were on. Inside, nothing had been disturbed. The girls' toys remained scattered across the floor, everything positioned exactly where Shanann had left it on the final morning of her life, as though the entire house had frozen at that precise moment. 3 people had died inside it. The officers spread out to sweep the rooms, and one of them reaches the dining area and comes to a halt.
I got you long.
Slow and steady, guys.
Okay. Coming out.
Still got that bathroom?
Yep.
I'm gonna pass my... Opening a connecting door. Clear.
Alright.
Connecting door. Closet, I'm coming behind it. Clear, I'm coming out.
Okay. Did you guys get this closet?
Nope.
Ready?
That's the basement, I think. I'll just go up. Okay, let's clear the garage. Come see where you're at, we'll come out to the garage. Frederick Police Department, anybody in the garage? Frederick Police Department, make yourself known! No.
Is this sealed off from the top on that side? Yeah. Never mind.
Frederick Police Department, anybody in the basement? Frederick Police Department, make yourself known! Frederick Police Department, anybody out here?
Check the top, see if there's a access thing.
There's a dark shape sitting in the chair on the right, perfectly still, and the instant his flashlight hits it, a shadow tears across the frame. He stops dead in his tracks. You can see it in his body language, in the way he holds himself, that he wants nothing more than to leave that room. But that still isn't the most disturbing thing the cameras capture that night. As the officers begin heading toward the second floor, one of their body cameras picks up something behind a fellow officer. A small figure, low to the ground, peers out from behind him just far enough to look up the staircase, then retreats back out of frame, 3 feet tall, maybe 4. When you slow the footage down, many viewers are convinced it's wearing a little dress. And bear in mind who was in that house. Fully grown men, all of them, in uniform.
Look for any like vents like those that are big enough that maybe they open and open.
Let's go clear upstairs. Frederick Police Department, anybody upstairs? Frederick Police Department, anybody upstairs? Make yourself known! You guys want to come to me? I'll grab the gate.
I'll hold down here.
Coming out. Copy. You and I can answer. Nope. I'll break that. Police Department, anybody in there? Rutgers Police Department, make yourself known! Copy. Copy. Okay. Go ahead and make this place like it was when we came in.
I think I got it. It's better.
All right, okay. coming down.
Copy.
I'm going to the backyard going. I hope that backyard is on.
All right.
What's that?
All the lights.
Alright, guys.
Good.
All right.
Did we get the garage lights off? Did we get the garage lights off? Okay.
Got everybody? Okay, let's go. I'll be the last one out.
Gotta kill lights. It's gonna get dark.
30 seconds later, that same small shape leans out again from the identical spot, and the officer continues forward as though he never noticed a thing. Then there's the audio. Roughly 9 minutes in, a woman's voice bleeds through the recording, faint and fractured, strained. 5 trained officers walked into an empty house that night expecting absolutely nothing, and came back out shaken, every last one of them. Once the footage began circulating, no one could reach a consensus. One side argues it was a living person, plain and simple. The displaced screen, the anonymous text, the woman caught on the neighbor's camera, someone who had known the family and kept returning to the house. The other side doesn't believe it was ever a person at all. There's no resolution to be found. Whatever it was that came back to the Watts house, my name is Bobby Box, and I work as a star sheriff. I don't have any bullet scars, and I keep a handle on the park map. Recently, though, while I was having a conversation with a friend about the paranormal, that friend brought up something they had come across while reviewing security footage, something strange that they still haven't been able to make sense of. At the time the security camera was running, something unexpected showed up in the hallway, roughly toward the center of the frame. Whatever it was seemed to drift into view before moving off to the left side of the screen. Its shape loosely resembles a human figure, but everything surrounding that resemblance feels deeply off. When Bobby reviewed the footage himself, he wasn't so much shocked as he was completely at a loss for any explanation. So what's your take on this? Could what this camera recorded be a genuine paranormal encounter on a terrible Wednesday, or is there a more rational, paranormal explorer known as D ventured back alone into one of the most unsettling, reportedly cursed patches of forest she had ever set foot in? Her mission was to gather evidence of the cryptids said to roam these woods, and she endured several nights alone in the pitch-black wilderness to do it. For long stretches, the forest offered nothing but silence. Then Dee set up a chair along a secluded trail, started recording, and had no idea that something just outside the reach of her flashlight was already closing in on her.
What was that? These lights in my face are horrible. Oh, God, guys.
Thunderous, fast-moving footsteps tear through the tall grass encircling Dee. Whatever it is keeps drawing nearer, tightening its loop around her. until she can't take it anymore and bolts from the chair, disappearing into the darkness. Nothing steps into the light, but the sheer ferocity of those sounds leaves Dee fully convinced she's being tracked by something dangerous. Refusing to back down, she pushes further into a different part of the forest later that same night, and this time whatever is out there doesn't stay hidden.
Fellas, I'm really trying to give you guys videos out here, but this place terrifies me to the core. But I'm fascinated with it at the same time. I'm hearing noises, dude, and I don't know if it's clicking, I can't hear it. It's like a low. Hello?
At the edge of the overgrown path, a pale, hunched figure pulls itself out from behind a dense wall of foliage. The thing has a hairless, sunken head and bony shoulders tilting forward from the brush, almost as though it's studying her. Dee's terror takes over and she whips the camera away before the creature's full form can come into frame. Some skeptics point to a wild animal, a bleached tree root, warped by flashlight distortion, or even a planted prop as possible explanations. Still, after that aggressive circling incident near the chair earlier in the night, viewers couldn't shake the gut-wrenching sense that this pale, crawling figure had been trailing Dee through the forest the entire time. So did Dee actually film a pale crawler hunting her through those woods? Or was the darkness simply playing a cruel trick on her? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. We have footage that was re-uploaded to TikTok, meaning its original source can't be traced, but what it shows is nothing short of bone-chilling. According to the story, a mother arrived home late one night and left her son's bikes out in the garden. Everything appeared calm, maybe a little too calm, but not long after she stepped inside, her security system pinged her with an alert, and what it had recorded was genuinely unsettling. Keep your eyes on the tricycle sitting out in the middle of the garden. Without any warning, it starts moving completely on its own. Now, the usual skeptic response would be to blame the wind, but pay close attention here. It begins to roll forward, then stops dead in its tracks. Then slowly, the handlebars turn, and it continues off in a completely different direction. The whole thing plays out exactly like someone unseen is sitting behind the wheel, and there's not a single person visible anywhere in the frame. The mother says watching this footage made her stomach drop because that tricycle had been completely motionless right up until that moment. Ever since it happened, she won't set foot outside after dark. So was this nothing more than a gust of wind catching a lightweight toy? Or did something from the other side decide to take it for a late night spin? That's for you to judge. In the early hours of September 2nd, 2020, a father heads into his daughter's bedroom after hearing her cry out for help. He rushes over to check on her, and that's when things take a turn.
Oh my God!
What's the matter?
I just want to sleep.
Whatever it was had clearly left the little girl absolutely terrified. Her parents initially wondered if she might have just been caught in a bad nightmare, but they couldn't quite convince themselves of that. They had never once seen their child in that kind of state, so they decided to pull up the security footage from that night to see if anything unusual showed up. At first, nothing jumps out. Then they look a little closer, and there it is. Something, or someone, had apparently been inside that room with her.
Oh my God!
It's not immediately obvious where this mysterious presence is located, but according to the mother, it shows up right at her daughter's bedside. What looks like a face, seemingly belonging to a woman, appears on camera for just a few seconds before it's gone.
Frame, and that face right there is what popped up. But here is a close-up. Right there, you can clearly see the lips, the teeth, the nose, the eye, the eyebrow, and like hair.
The parents are convinced this is what sent their daughter into a panic. It takes a moment to make it out, but once you see it, it's hard to unsee. Even though this was captured several years ago now, they still have no explanation for what appeared in that footage. To this day, this video remains. Footage starts out like countless other wildlife clips you've likely come across. A YouTuber is quietly capturing a deer herd grazing in a dark woodland setting. The animals are surprisingly near, feeding at a leisurely pace, while the camera holds steady. Everything seems perfectly ordinary. The kind of serene moment most viewers would swipe past without a second thought. Then your gaze wanders past the deer. Among the trees, several slender vertical lights glow in the background, perfectly still, strangely luminous, and completely out of place in the middle of a dense forest. They don't look like handheld torches. They don't behave like passing headlights. They just hover there, half obscured by the trunks, as though they belong to the scenery. You could almost talk yourself out of it. Then something new enters the picture. A sequence of lights starts jumping from limb to limb, high up in the tree line. The movement follows a pattern that's hard to pin down. Not drifting, not dropping, but almost vaulting through the upper canopy, while the deer below begin showing clear signs of unease. Heads rise, ears rotate, and the tranquil mood from just a moment before slowly gives way to something much more unsettling. The camera never answers what was generating those lights. There's no climactic reveal, no shadowy figure stepping forward, no commentary from the person behind the lens. The power of it comes entirely from what it refuses to show you. Captured back in 2012, this eerie piece of footage was recorded by a tourist exploring a centuries-old castle tucked away in the French mountains. He was part of a larger group moving through the historic grounds, filming the interior as a personal memento from his travels. Everything seemed completely normal at the time, but unbeknownst to anyone present, his camera was picking up something deeply unsettling. Pay close attention to what unfolds on screen. At a certain moment in the clip, a tall and faintly visible figure materializes out of nowhere. It appears semi-transparent, taking the shape of a large male figure standing perfectly still within the castle walls. Just as suddenly as it showed up, it vanishes without a trace, as if it was never there to begin with. What's particularly strange is that not a single person in the surrounding group seemed to react or even glance in that direction. The figure went completely unnoticed until the man sat down to review his vacation recordings afterward. To this day, viewers remain divided. Some are convinced this is a genuine supernatural presence, while others argue it's nothing more than a trick of light and perspective within the old stone structure. Jake and Noah from Spirit Stalkers were on an investigation at Liberty High School in Ohio City when a series of sounds, what seemed unmistakably like 7 gunshots, echoed through the building. They dialed 911. Officers showed up with weapons drawn, braced for an active shooter. What they discovered defies any rational explanation. But first, if you haven't already, think about hitting that subscribe button.
Homicide. Homicide. Oh my God.
Several hours before that call was made, the duo's paranormal gear had already been throwing up red flags. Their spirit box, a piece of equipment that rapidly cycles through radio frequencies, kept landing on a single word: homicide.
It's so dark in here, guys. It is so dark in here. Can you tell me something else about the school or something that I need to know? Negative! Oh my God! Are you freaking serious, dude? You gotta be joking. Why is there a negative entity here? Oh my god!
Liberty High School has sat empty for decades. The 4-story structure carries one particular detail that makes your skin crawl: a punishment chamber known as the Sin Box, a cramped solitary confinement cell where students who acted out were sealed in total darkness during school hours.
Dude, so this is the box, it's basically the press box for the gymnasium. They actually lock kids who misbehaved in this box. I can touch both walls.
Yeah.
And that's how big the room is. And you'd be trapped in here for maybe a whole class day. I'm gonna turn on the PX device. This is the first time this is being shown on our channel. This is the original Ovilus.
Yep.
So it has a word database. It reads the environment and spirits.
As the investigation wore on, their equipment began failing without warning. Fresh batteries died on the spot, devices simply went black, and then came the sound of footsteps sprinting through corridors that should have been completely empty.
Dude. Who are we hearing?
Then, while Jake was by himself down in the basement, he heard something that stopped him cold.
Oh, it finally spoke! It finally spoke, dude! What did it say? Male! Dude. It finally spoke. It said male. Hey, Noah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do an EVP 1 sec, okay?
Yeah.
So guys, since it just finally, this PX finally spoke, I'm gonna do an EVP session. And play something here. Whoever's down here, if you could just speak into that device on the table, that'd be cool. Can you tell me who you are? It said rewind at the end, dude. It wants me to rewind.
Jake! Oh my god, Jake!
Was that inside?
Yeah.
Shh. Get down here now. Now get down here, dude.
No, you come with me, bro. That was on my level.
Call the cops on my phone now. Call the cops. Call the fucking cops. Call the fucking cops. Just get down. Turn the lights off.
Rapid gunshots rang out in quick succession from the direction of the gymnasium level, the same floor where Noah had been locked inside the Sin Box. Both men immediately killed their lights and pressed into the shadows, listening as something that sounded disturbingly like a person tried door handles and moved steadily through the building. They called the police. 2 units arrived without hesitation.
Back here. We're in here filming a ghost video, of all things, and I was kind of standing down here in the cellar, and it sounded like it had to have been like in this parking lot, just like 7 shots. So I ran up to him where he was up in the gymnasium, and we just heard like...
The officers swept through the building room by room, flashlights and firearms raised. No shell casings, no shattered glass, no sign of any intruder. But while working through the 2nd floor, something stopped them in their tracks.
No.
2 experienced trained officers openly admitted that they had heard footsteps closing in on them through the dark. When one of them swung his flashlight down the hallway, the beam caught a dark shape in motion, not a human figure, something that simply vanished the instant the light touched it. Both officers walked out of that building at a pace that wasn't leisurely.
That's actually scared me. Good luck.
The police cleared out. Their official report read simply, "No suspects found." When officers who are conditioned to run toward danger instead abandon a building and leave ghost hunters with a good luck, it tells you something about what's waiting in that darkness. Liberty High School is still standing. The sin box is still there on the 3rd floor, and whatever lives inside those walls made itself impossible to ignore for 4 people that night. Susan Murlock is a mother to a 2-year-old daughter who out of nowhere one day said something that sent chills down her spine. The little girl claimed there was somebody hiding in her closet. Shaken by what she heard, Susan immediately went to go check it out.
Daughter has informed me that there is a person in her closet that keeps smiling at her. Let's go see.
Open it. That's a person.
There's a person?
Yeah.
Can you show me where the person is?
Right here. Right here. Right here.
Is it Elsa?
No. No.
No?
I'm scared.
You're scared?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you show me where the person is? Is it a kid person or a grown-up person?
Grown-up person.
It's a grown-up person?
I'm on the Elmo.
You want to wear your Elmo costume?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a grown-up person in your closet?
Yeah.
And it's right there?
Yeah. I'm scared.
You're scared?
Yeah. I'm a person.
Okay, we'll get rid of the person.
The child is visibly terrified, seemingly certain that there's someone lurking behind that door. Yet when Susan pulls it open, the closet appears to be completely empty. A number of viewers pointed out a box sitting inside that, if you look at it a certain way, kind of resembles a face. Many thought that could explain what spooked her, but Susan wasn't buying it, and she shot back with a quick response video.
There is like a woman-shaped thing on the box, which is very strange. So I take the box out. I took all the clothes out of that in case that was like causing a shadow or something. So I took all the clothes out of the back of that closet. I took the box out, and she still saw the person. Oops, someone's at my door. She still saw.
So if that box had nothing to do with it, what on earth did that little girl actually see? Susan says her solution was to put a lock on the closet door, hoping that would finally give her daughter some peace at night. And apparently it worked. The girl has been sleeping soundly ever since. Even so, Susan is still watching that closet closely, ready in case anything out of the ordinary decides.
Person.
There's a person?
Yeah.
Can you show me?
One night, a man named Nick is home caring for his ailing grandmother when something unexpected unfolds. Nick explains that his grandmother suffers from dementia, a condition that can sometimes cause sufferers to experience hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that simply aren't there. But as Nick watches her standing motionless, something unsettling occurs. Pay close attention to what follows. Meanwhile, the dogs begin growling and staring down the hallway as though they're fixated on something invisible. and then without warning, an object tumbles off the top of the fridge. When Nick goes to check what fell, the discovery only makes the whole situation feel far more disturbing.
So this is in response to last night. My grandma loves to collect little figurines. One of my grandma's little angels fell off the fridge last night.
Nick points out that the figurines are positioned well back on top of the fridge, so it's difficult to explain how the angel statue ended up on the floor. He believes there's something deeply unsettling at play, especially given that it was an angel of all things that fell. After the footage spread online, one viewer noticed an additional detail that cranks the fear factor up another level entirely.
I wanted to show you guys something. Honestly, I'm a bit in disbelief, but no, I'm pretty sure it's just a plug-in charger. I brought my girlfriend Claire here so she can help demonstrate. But can you try to step in front of that? And so it just does that. Move away. So that comment says that the Roomba doesn't do that unless someone's in front of it. It is kind of creepy with a smiley face and everything.
The Roomba appears to be repeating the same back and forth motion, almost as though it keeps colliding with something or someone standing directly in its path, much like the figures spotted earlier. Nick believes the device was detecting something physically blocking its way. Ever since that night, Nick has been deeply uneasy about the kitchen, but since the only television in the house is in that room, he has no choice but to sit in there. Then during another late night alone in front of the TV, this occurs.
So I was watching my show, and after last night, I'm definitely not leaving these lights on. But I was watching my show, and there's nothing there.
The Roomba isn't around this time, yet the dogs are behaving identically, their gaze locked onto something in the kitchen that no one else can see. Nick's grandfather passed away about a year ago, and once told him that he believed he'd spotted Nick's grandmother standing in the darkened kitchen, only to approach and find absolutely no one there. That story might have more relevance to the current situation than anyone initially thought, and it's part of why Nick already dreads that room. Not long after the dog locks onto the kitchen, Nick captures this on camera.
Whoa. Whoa. Yo. Oh, that's cool.
The Roomba trails Nick around the living room before suddenly flipping itself over completely on its own, leaving him visibly shaken. Several viewers noted that the robot was traveling in an unnaturally straight line, which is not how these devices are designed to move, and rather than reversing when it reached the edge of the stairs the way it had done previously, it simply kept going and toppled right off. That was the moment Nick became absolutely convinced that something terrifying is happening in that house. He says the dogs now flat out refuse to go anywhere near the kitchen, and his grandmother, seemingly unbothered by all of it, was mainly just worried about whether the Roomba was all right. Until any further updates come through, this one stays firmly among the most chilling cases we've come across. The night of April 28, 2026, Marcus was out on a delivery run when his route took him down a stretch of road flanked on both sides by two massive cemeteries. As he made his way through that eerie corridor, his dashcam was rolling, and it caught something he never could have anticipated. Judge for yourself what showed up that evening.
Cemetery. That's called a cemetery.
Marcus didn't notice anything off while he was behind the wheel, but once he pulled up the dashcam footage for review, something appeared to seep into his car in spite of the windows appearing to be completely shut. Whatever made its way inside has never been explained. Just one day after a devastating earthquake tore through Venezuela, a man ventured inside a badly damaged structure to see what remained. As he pushed further into the wreckage, something lurking in the shadows stopped him in his tracks. He wasted no time pulling out his phone and hitting record. See for yourself what he found.
Se derrumbado. Qué locura, Dios mío. Aunque ande en valle de sombra de muerte, no temeré porque Dios mío está conmigo, siempre en la vida. Así son las cosas. Por eso camino, aunque muchos no lo crean y muchos crean que está.
Initially, what looks like a pair of eyes becomes visible, peering at him through a narrow gap in the crumbled walls. Seconds later, a tall, dark figure briefly appears in an upper corner of the room before vanishing just as quickly. But the footage didn't stop there. As the man pressed on through the ruins, a faint voice seemed to murmur something in Spanish, the words translating to, "I don't want to leave." Some who've watched the clip are convinced it captured something supernatural tied to the tragedy, while others are certain there's a perfectly rational explanation. So what's your take? It's completely alone inside the school, and then something absolutely terrifying unfolded. The footage you're about to see was captured by a young man at a school somewhere in the United States, a building that was constructed long ago directly over an old, abandoned cemetery. Even today, photographs of that cemetery remain displayed inside the school, and actual fragments of the grave markers have been mounted on the walls as a grim reminder of what lies beneath. The man behind the camera works there as a night janitor, and he says that numerous employees before him walked off the job after encountering disturbing things within those walls. So one night, while he was working through his shift entirely on his own, something deeply unsettling suddenly made itself known. See for yourself.
All right, I usually don't record while I'm on the job, but this is freaking me out. It's sort of unreal. I'm here at work. I'm here in the janitor's closet. Yeah, let me just show you guys. All right. Just to, I don't know, let you guys know, this school was built on the cemetery. I don't know if that helps my situation or not, but previous janitors that have worked here have tried to tell everyone that, you know, every night something happens, some spooky shit, I don't know, paranormal or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, I didn't really believe them until tonight. I was in here cleaning up after some students had thrown a party, but what's been freaking me out is this one right here. No matter where I'm at in the classroom or what I decide to do, it just follows me. And do your thing, you stupid balloon. Got you on camera now, so let's just, see? That right there. Shit. Just ooh, okay. See, no. It just follows me no matter what. Ooh. No, I can't. Ooh. No, I can't.
Initially, the man noticed a balloon behaving strangely on its own, which prompted him to step out of the classroom. But the balloon drifted out after him, almost as though it was deliberately trailing behind. Then, from the other side of the hallway, a dark, semi-transparent shape came shooting past at a speed that was both extraordinary and completely unnatural. No human being is physically capable of moving that quickly, and the man is fully convinced that what crossed his path that night was a genuine apparition, and that the school is haunted precisely because it was erected over a burial ground. So what do you think? Coming up next, a man named Angelo claims that some deeply unsettling things have been going on inside his home in Tenerife, one of Spain's Canary Islands. Angelo says that on one particular night, his dog Nala began behaving very strangely, as though something had thoroughly frightened her. Concerned and curious, they decided to pull up the security camera footage, and what they discovered was nothing short of disturbing. In the recording, little Nala appears distressed by something just out of frame, something completely invisible to the viewer. She begins retreating across the room, visibly terrified. Then out of nowhere, something appears to violently rip the collar clean from around the dog's neck. Angelo later uploaded follow-up videos to back up his claim that the footage was genuine. He showed that the clip had been pulled straight from his security system, and he physically demonstrated that Nala's collar fits snugly and doesn't simply slip off on its own. Since the incident, Angelo says his poor pup has been an anxious mess. She refuses to be left by herself and now demands to sleep in the bedroom with the family every single night. As for Angelo himself, he's since installed 2 additional cameras throughout the house because he believes that whatever tore that collar off never left, and he's determined to get it on film. Sometimes the most terrifying experiences a person can go through have absolutely nothing to do with the supernatural. Sometimes it's other human beings that are the real threat. That's exactly what Reddit user Confident Cherry 392 discovered while traveling down a road in Oregon. Cherry was heading home with their 2 children in the back when something in the road ahead forced them to hit the brakes hard. Thankfully, their dash cam caught every second of it. Initially, Cherry assumed the bicycle had simply rolled out into the road by accident, but it quickly became obvious that the man had placed it there deliberately. He may well have been lying in wait, scoping out the right vehicle to target. It wasn't until the man produced a baseball bat that Cherry understood exactly what was unfolding and threw the car into reverse. Luckily, the road behind them was completely clear because if another car had been there, they would have had nowhere to go. Cherry managed to get out of that terrifying situation in one piece, but our next clip is a reminder that we're never truly out of danger, even in moments when we believe we're completely on our own. 12:46 a.m., a girl is reportedly jolted awake by something terrifying inside her bedroom. The clip itself was recorded on July 22, 2026, though the family's unease about the property stretches back considerably further. Her daughter had already moved out by this point, leaving that old bedroom sitting empty. The mother had been picking up on odd things throughout the house, so she set up a security camera in the vacant room to see if anything was going on when no one was around. Then during a visit to grab something from the closet, the camera caught something unexpected. She exits the room, and the moment she's gone, the closet door swings open on its own behind her. At first, nothing seems obviously out of place. Then an object suddenly drops, startling her so badly she bolts from the room entirely. Some people watching the footage think the basket might hold the answer, arguing that the closet door could have nudged it on her way out. To test that theory, a second recording was set up.
This comment because it has come up a lot, besides the fact that the doors are broken and they're bifold doors and they do that. These doors don't just pop open all the time on their own. I get that they're bifold doors and they're spring loaded and that can happen, but it doesn't happen all the time. Especially if you've seen some of the other videos and the stuff we've been dealing with in this house since like 2018. Like, look, I've been standing here forever and nothing's happening. Like, they don't just pop open. So anyways, I did want to address this comment, so I'm just going to show you. So I'm opening this side just like I did the day when I was grabbing my bag and some clothes out of there. If you look up on the shelf, there is the sewing basket. It is right flush up against that back wall. I just want to show you the distance between the door, the closet door, and that shelf. Tell me how this door that is that far away from the shelf, like that far away from the shelf, clipped that and pulled it down.
But the strange activity didn't start here. There was already a long and unsettling history attached to this house. The family says paranormal and unexplained events had been occurring since 2018. Back in 2020, the daughter was still living in this very bedroom, which sits down in the basement. She had reported disturbing things happening to her at night, and that was what first prompted the family to install a camera in the space. At a later point, the mother herself had an experience that jolted her awake in the middle of the night. She heard knocking at the door, then something tumbled out of the closet. She turned the lights on, but the room was completely empty. Even without any clear explanation, the incident shook her enough that she abandoned the room and couldn't get back to sleep. Years of these strange moments have piled up, and she still has no real answers. Whether something paranormal is at work, or there's a perfectly logical reason behind it all, the footage has never delivered a conclusive explanation. The mystery, for now, lives on inside that basement bedroom. TikTok account shown here belongs to an English woman who typically posts cheerful, everyday content, nothing remotely connected to the paranormal. That's what made her most recent upload so surprising. Her mother and aunt had been hired to clean out an empty building in East London, a location that once served as a mental asylum. Once the job was done, her aunt decided to film a walkthrough to show her husband how the place had turned out. But when he sat down to watch it, he spotted something that stopped him cold. Here's what that footage actually captured.
Hey, Saint.
Right, so I'm just gonna get the car.
Yeah.
All the way through the recording, you can make out what seem to be disturbing screams and disembodied voices reverberating through the building. The unsettling part? Both her mother and her aunt insist they didn't hear a single sound while they were inside. Her comments section exploded with people demanding answers, so she followed up with a second video addressing the questions. Take a look at what she had to say.
This video that I posted many hours of today, I've learnt a lot. I've actually learned so much. My mum didn't actually want to be posted, so I didn't mean to post my mum. So sorry, mum. But my auntie and my mum did not hear anything in the building itself. However, when my auntie got home to my uncle to show him like how nice that building is, the stairs, the flooring, like they were just loving it. And it weren't until my uncle said, "Yeah, come listen to this." And then that's where you can hear the demonic scream, the girls' voices, the men talking. And when my mum told the lady who she worked for about this, everybody was so flabbergasted. They was like, "Are you sure no one else was in that building with you? This, that, whatever." And then it come out that this building was an asylum seekers building, like hospital. And I'm actually going to upload some screenshots that I've got off the Tower Hamlets, one of their websites, explaining what this place was. It is scary. No one was allowed downstairs unless you are a worker, but there was only certain workers who was allowed downstairs. The things that went on behind them closed doors, I wouldn't know. Only the people who was in this building at that time going through that trauma would know, and the workers and so on. It's beyond me. Like,
so what's your take? What do you think was lurking in that building? Were those screams and voices the remnants of something that never left the asylum behind? Or does a rational explanation exist for what was recorded? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Ashley Cattering, a young mother who also works as a real estate agent, sits down to share what initially seems like an ordinary peek into her everyday routine, but what she reveals quickly becomes anything but. Just days before filming this, something happened that left both her and her kids genuinely shaken. It started with footage pulled from her home security system, which appears to capture something slowly making its way up the basement stairs, a detail that her family has yet to find any explanation for. The go-to reaction for most people is predictable. There must be a cat involved, but Ashley is clear. There are no pets in the house. And still, something unmistakably moves up those steps. Puzzled, she repositions the camera to the top of the staircase to capture a clearer view. What her camera picks up the very next night is somehow even harder to explain. Even if you're willing to entertain the idea that the shape on screen could belong to some kind of animal, its appearance is deeply unsettling, partially see-through, almost otherworldly. But what shows up immediately after seems to eliminate the animal theory entirely, at least as far as most people who've watched this are concerned. Could this home be visited by something from beyond? What emerges next looks far more human in form, the spirit of a woman perhaps, or nothing more than shadows playing tricks.